Hi, this is Victor from Launch Excel. In today's episode, I'm going to show you a simple way to use the Excel macro recorder to learn a bit more about Excel VBA. You'll be able to try it out straight after you finish watching this video. Back to our friend Matt. He started learning Excel Macros and VBA with us when this video series started. In the first episode, he learned how to record a macro in 3 simple stages, and also how to play it back with assigned keyboard shortcuts. In the second episode, he learned how to write a simple macro in VBA, which is Visual Basic for Applications, the programming language that Excel understands. And he downloaded a free PDF ebook. It explains step by step how to record a macro in Excel, and also answers some common questions that beginners ask about VBA and macros in Excel. And when you get the free ebook, you also sign up for our free email course on learning VBA for Excel. So what's not to like? In case you haven't got your free ebook yet, I recommend you pause this video and get it first, then come back. I'll still be here. You can find the download link in the description area below this video. Okay, back to our friend Matt. Looks like he has a question. Hi Matt, you look a bit puzzled. I guess you want to ask something about macros? Right. One of Matt's friends said that the macro recorder might be a good way to learn VBA. He wants to know if that's right. Well, thanks for that question, Matt. The short answer is yes. You can use the Excel macro recorder to learn simple VBA, but it has key limitations. By the end of this episode, you'll see some simple VBA that you can learn from the macro recorder, and also what you can't learn. So the macro recorder in Excel can be used to record certain actions and certain things done to objects in Excel, objects like worksheets and ranges. So there's 4 items here that I've listed. One is properties, which is the characteristics of objects. So properties, the Excel macro recorder can change. Methods, which is stuff done on to objects, such as adding new workbooks or deleting ranges. So yes, the macro recorder can also do those things. Now the thing that the macro recorder can't do is write good code. It actually doesn't write very good code. And also it can't write stuff that is triggered by an event, such as opening or closing a workbook or activating a range in a worksheet. So let's get started. I'll go through each of these things. Let me first go into this worksheet I've prepared. We've got properties first, and let me put this over to the right, and then we're going to use the VBA window on the left. So when it comes to properties, these are things that are characteristics of objects in Excel. We can use the macro recorder to change them. So over here is some text in Calibri font size 11. We want this in bold, italic, Arial black, font size 16. I'm going to do that while recording a macro. So we'll head over to the developer tab up here, start recording macro, record macro button, and I'm going to call this change underscore font. Click OK. Then I'm going to select these cells. I'm going to go up to home, make them bold, italic, change from Calibri to Arial black, and then change this from 11 to size 16 font, and then I'll move this out the way. So we can see that this is done. I'm going to stop recording the macro, head over to the developer tab, stop recording, and if we go back to the VBA editor window, we can look inside this YouTube vid3 project. There is a new module, module 1, and this module 1, this has our recorded code. We can step through this one line at a time. I'm going to use the F8 key, and you'll see that there's a yellow highlight. So as I press F8, it will move through the macro line by line. So now it's saying select this range. The select is actually a method. We'll see a bit more about methods in the next section, but what it's doing is selecting this range B7 to B8. So this line here, this is going to change the property. There's the selection, this is an object in Excel, the font of that selection, which is another object, and then this bold aspect, this characteristic is called a property. It's going to change that to true. Then it's going to do the same with the selection font, and it's going to change the italic property to true. Now here's where Excel writes more than it needs to. All I did here was change the font to Arial Black. So it was Calibri, now it's Arial Black. And you see it's recorded that the name of the font should be Arial Black. That's the way of changing the font type. It's also recorded that the size should be 11, the strike through should be false, the superscript should be false, subscript should be false, all these things which I didn't change. They are still recorded by the Excel macro recorder. So you can see that Excel doesn't write great code with the Excel macro recorder. So I'll execute this line by line and then move on to this next block. This next block is going to change the selections font, and it's going to change each of these properties line by line. It's going to change the size. This is what we wanted before. So it's going to change the size and every other property here listed. And that's it. So that's a recorded macro that changes some properties. You can try the same if you head over to a new workbook and you start recording a macro, and then you start changing things, maybe typing a few things, changing the font size, changing the color. You'll see what it does when you look at the recorded code. Now we're going to have a quick look at something called methods. So we covered properties just now. We're going to check out a few more methods. We saw one method here, which is selecting. We're going to see a couple more methods now. So I've got a new sheet here, which is got 10 numbers listed here. I'm using the formula rand between, so you can see this is equals rand between 1 and 20. So numbers between 1 and 20. And over here, I've got that formula in each of these cells. So I'm going to record a new macro now and call it paste values transpose. Okay, so you can see in the VBA macro recorder, so the VBA editor, this is created a new subroutine called paste values transpose. And over here in the Excel window, we're going to select this range. Then we're going to copy it. I'll use the right click copy so you can see what I'm doing. Then I'll right click in D5 and I'll hit paste special. See this dialog box? From here I'm going to select values and then I'm going to transpose. So I'll click OK, and what it's done is it's taken the numbers that were in here and it's transposed them as values so that they're fixed. Now we're going to head down to the VBA editor window. I'm going to add a few lines here so you can see the code up in the middle, and we'll check out the things that the macro recorder recorded. So let me add a bit of white space. You can add white space in the VBA editor in this code window bit because Excel doesn't read spaces between commands. So we can add space and add things like comments here to make it easier to read the macros. Right, so we're going to look at these methods. There was a select method. This was selecting this range B5 to B14. There was a copy, so it copied the selection. Another select, so it selected D5. So over here, it selected that range. Then it selected this range, D5. Then it did a paste special. That is another method. So each of these are methods. Methods are actions that you do onto an Excel object. And so all of these methods, let's just get rid of these so you can see this a bit more clearly. You'll see that there are different parameters here that Excel has recorded, and also here. So the first one is you want to paste values. You want the operation to be none, skip blanks to be false, and transpose to be true. So in case you're not familiar or you can't remember quite what that means, let me go through this again. Oh, hang on, I've still got the record. So hang on, just have a look at this. I haven't stopped recording the macro. So you see every action I do is going to continue adding down here. So let's just take this off again. I'll keep recording so you can see this again. I'll copy this, right click in here, do a paste special. Okay, now what you can see is what I did before is select values and transpose. And you can also see that each of these parameters corresponds to a box here in Excel. There's a paste, and then there's an operation parameter, I didn't do anything with that. There's also this skip blanks parameter. We didn't do anything with that. And then there's this transpose, which we did do something with. So you can see sometimes methods have parameters, and sometimes they're just simple actions that you do without parameters. And let me get rid of this. Okay, and also this. And then I'll click OK. This time I didn't transpose, so I will stop recording and then head back here. So add a few lines to make it a bit easier to read. And a few blank lines here. Okay, so we did a couple of things here. We did this first step down to there. We did a select method, we did a copy method, another select method, then a paste special. Then I didn't stop recording the macro recorder, so you got this extra code down here. Another select method, then you've got this select method with a bit of a special indication of how it selects the range. It goes all the way down from where I started to where there's no more numbers, so right down to this bottom bit. I exited the copy paste mode by pressing escape, so it recorded that. Then I copied and I selected a new range, D5. Then I did a paste special, this time without the transpose, so it pasted this way. Right, so you can see that the Excel macro recorder does allow us to record methods as well as properties. Previously we saw properties up here. So we can see it's changed properties. These are properties. And it's changed it's done methods. Now one thing that you'll remember I told you before, if I bring this up again, is that the Excel macro recorder can do properties, yes, methods, yes, but it can't do good code, and it can't do triggers. So you can see that this is not good code. There's a lot of stuff we didn't need. We didn't need any of this, we just needed the Arial black. And we didn't need any of this, we just wanted the size to be 16. So you can see that the code could be cleaned up. And one of the things that you'll get better at is after you learn a bit more VBA, you'll know what to take away and what to keep. Another thing the Excel macro recorder can't do is record code to handle events. We'll take a look at a fun event handler procedure now. So we have a new worksheet here with a bit of mysterious black cells. Wonder what these are. Well, let me show you. If I go in here, I have a couple of things you'll see on the left hand side with the VBA editor. I have something called worksheet selection change and another one called worksheet change. Now what are these things? These are called events. So the first one is when the selection changes on the worksheet, you execute this code. And when there is a change on the worksheet for the second one, you execute this code. So this code here, when you change the selection, is going to go through, basically you don't have to understand this code just yet, but it changes the color of a cell. And that's what we're going to do over here. If I show you, I'm going to head back here. Now watch what happens when I change the selection. It changes the color. And it will cycle through different colors depending on how many times I've clicked. So click, 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 you'll just change the color index. And again, it's just running through the code here on the left. You can try this yourself if you want to just copy this code. I'll put this into the description below, or you can just type it out yourself by following what's on here. The important thing to note is it must go not in a code module like this, not in here. It must go on a worksheet because this is an event that happens on a worksheet. So over here, if I select another cell on this worksheet, the colors will change. But if I go, say, back to the methods sheet, if I change the selection there, it's not going to change the colors because that event is not linked that event handler procedure on the left is not linked to this worksheet. It's only linked to the events worksheet. So when you copy and paste this code or type it out yourself, you must make sure you put it onto a specific sheet code over here. So not one of these code modules, but just one of these sheet modules here. Okay, so let me erase that. And we're going to reveal the mystery text. If I go back here and select, it says learn more VBA and macros with Launch Excel. Okay, and a quick recap of what we learned in this lesson. So we learned that the macro recorder can be used to record properties. It also can be used to record methods. It can't really generate good code. You got to write that yourself. And it can't be used to handle events. But don't worry, we'll cover these in future videos. Thanks for watching this episode. I'd like to ask you to take a moment and support this channel. Click on the like button below because it will help more people find this video, and I'll make even more videos like it. You can also leave a comment below if you have any questions about basic macros and first steps to learning VBA. And make sure you don't miss out on new videos about Excel. Hit the subscribe button now if you aren't already a subscriber. Thanks for subscribing. Okay, here's a quick reminder about the free ebook. It's got 28 pages of instructions to help you record your first macro in Excel. It's a step-by-step guide you can download and follow at your own pace. There's also answers to common questions from beginners just like you who are learning about macros and VBA. When you sign up to get the ebook, you'll also start on a free email course to learn more about macros and VBA for Excel. To get your free ebook and email course, visit the download link in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and visit launchexcel.com for more tutorials on Excel.